right, so thanks again for joining our Virtual Learning Student Advisory Council first ever online meet and greet. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Emily Fox. I serve as the Interim Director of Student Success for Virtual Learning, as well as an adjunct instructor online. And I also have the pleasure of advising the Virtual Learning Student Advisory Council, the VLSAC, and I have the pleasure of moderating this first ever online meet and greet this evening. So you'll have a chance to hear from our two candidates who are running for the chair position of the Virtual Learning Student Advisory Council. And in the chair position, this is really the individual who will serve as the virtual learning student body voice and will lead efforts to improve the overall experience for virtual learning students. So it's an important individual that's overseeing much of the virtual learning student efforts and experience, like I said. So we have two different candidates. You'll hear from them shortly here. But just so you know the format of this meet and greet, I'll ask some questions at the beginning, but we'll certainly take any questions that you have via the chat box here in this Zoom platform. And that way you can get to know each of our candidates. Just so you know as well, voting for the candidates will open using the online ballot by the end of this meeting here, and then that will run through this Wednesday at midnight. So we encourage you to get your vote in early and soon. It's a short election, but we want to make sure that you meet the deadline. So I would like for you to meet our very qualified candidates. I will also put their bios in the chat. That way you can learn a little bit about them. But just to get us started, we have two candidates, Allison and Alexandra, both very qualified to represent the virtual learning student body. And I would like if you could start by telling us about yourself. So Allison, if you could start us off, and then Alexandra, you can follow up after Allison has concluded. If you could tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Oh, my name is Allison, and I live in Ephrata. I go to the Lancaster campus. I do both online and virtual classes, but I certainly like virtual a lot better since it fits in a lot with my schedule. I currently work full-time and go to school full-time, so virtual has definitely helped me a lot. I've been able to do a lot more and do it a lot more on my time. I am studying business administration. I'm doing the 2-year transfer. So not quite sure where I want to go after, but in HACC, it's definitely been a help for me.
Great, excellent. Thank you for introducing yourself. And Alexandra, I know you go by Alex. If you could also introduce yourself.
All right, well, hello everybody. Like Emily said, you may feel free to just call me Alex. This is a name that immediately I'll respond to anyway. So I'm actually coming to you live from close to the Pittsburgh area, about 60 minutes north and about a half hour away from the Ohio state border. I used to attend HACC Lebanon briefly for one semester, at which I served in the SGA as their secretary. One of the most amazing experiences, and something that served to develop me as a person. Actually, I'm so grateful to have ever been in that position. I used to attend IUP, where I went for one semester. I was pursuing music education. It wasn't right for me, but something that I still support wholeheartedly. And, you know, kudos to anybody that is able to pursue that through the end and then go on to be a music teacher. At HACC, I'm in a general studies program. I'm also doing a 2-year transfer. My intention is to go to Penn State Harrisburg, where I will double major in political science and psychology. From there, I'm also not sure what I'll be doing. The mindset I'm going with now is that it's not that I have no idea what I want to do with my life, but that I have so many ideas that it's kind of hard to pick which I want to do first.
Excellent, thank you. It's so nice to meet both of our candidates, Allison and Alexandra. I do have another question for you. Since you'll be representing the virtual learning student body, why is HACC virtual learning so important to you? I know that you said it works with your schedule, but why is it so important to you? Why do you want to be representing the virtual learning students? And if we could switch it up in the order this time, Alex, if you could start us off and then Allison follow up.
Sure. So it's not actually just HACC's virtual learning that I am a major fan of, but it's online education in general, something that I have been a passionate supporter of since I would say about age 13. I was an advocate for it when I was in middle school, and in high school, I wanted my school district to adopt more online courses so that people have the opportunity to get ahead, not just catch up when they fell behind. I have followed online education projects that like Open and Free. If anybody knows what a massively open online course is, a MOOC, maybe some of our faculty and administration know, and I hope some students know too, like edX and Coursera. I've been following those projects forever. I think that online education has the potential to change lives, and I know it's changed mine. When I was at IUP, I actually started with 2 online summer courses before I ever hit the campus, and I had 6 credits while the other freshmen started out with 0. So I know and have witnessed the impact that it has, and I have witnessed the impact that HACC as an elite school in our state has. The potential is infinite, and I want to be a part of whatever difference it can make.
Excellent, thank you. And Allison, if you could share why virtual learning at HACC is important to you as well.
Yeah, so I have always thought virtual classes have always been a great opportunity for someone to develop. Me as a student, I have always in class sometimes have been not per se bored, but have always wanted to stay ahead or learn on my own. I found it a lot better than in some subjects I have been able to do a lot better on my own, and be a more responsible person as well, because when you do virtual classes, you tend to have your own schedule. You have to be responsible for your assignments and everything, and it has been a great opportunity to develop as a person. So knowing that, I would love to help out people who do struggle with that. There are people who don't have who still need a little bit development in their self motivation to stay on top of their classes, to stay on top of their even for people who do that but are a little bit shy to participate, so they tend to go virtual. And I would like to help out people, like just become more involved with everyone and help each other out.
Excellent, thank you both. So a question somewhat related to that is, you're both running for the Virtual Learning Student Advisory Council chair position, representing the the Virtual Learning Student Body. Why do you see yourself fit to represent the student body? Why do you see yourself fit for this chair position? So again, reversing the order here, Allison, if you could start us off.
I have definitely been always very motivated and very on the go. Looking at the events on campus, on site, I have always found it very intriguing, and seeing that it changes a lot of people in the sense of bringing everyone together and being able to feel like they're connected in the school. I thought it would be great to be able to do that in our virtual with our virtual students. I think I could come up with a lot of ideas to bring everyone together, to have everyone involved and not make them feel like they have to go out of their way from their busy schedules, and find ways and solutions that everyone can participate and be in the event with everyone.
Excellent, thank you. And Alex, same for you. Why do you see yourself fit for this VLSIC chair position?
So the insight that I have after having been on the SGA in Lebanon, is going to serve me really well if I were to be elected to the chair. And that's because I know the different aspects that the student government plays on campus or in our campus, how it would serve. In part, student programming is a major function, and it serves to develop a sense of community. And that is especially important, especially in on-campus settings. That's something that I wouldn't want to say is underdeveloped in an online setting. However, I think that we're sort of on the cutting edge of technology. We know how to set up an event on an on-campus setting. We know how to rent out a room, and we know how to make sure that we have advisors ready to set up and supervise. How are you supposed to do that in a virtual setting? There's a lot of questions that we have to ask and find the answers to. Additionally, serving as liaison between the student body and the faculty and administration, there's a lot of listening to the student body that our student leaders have to do to relay the message. And there was so much more of that than I ever expected to have to do when I was a secretary. So I know how to do that. I know how to collect that message and make sure that it gets over unadulterated and that we can see changes or developments that need to be made.
Excellent, thanks. So I know both of you, Alex and Allison, hinted at the fact that you have some ideas for what to do for events or how to form communities. So what is one thing that you would choose to do to improve the virtual learning student experience if you were to be in this role? So Alex, if you could start us off.
Oh my gosh, I have so many ideas. I think one thing that I would love to do is really seize the power of social media. And that's something that I see, especially the Harrisburg campus, doing very, very well. But I think of any campus, it should be the virtual campus that has it down pat and maybe even does it the best. Because how else are the students going to convene as a community if we don't have hallways to walk through and lounges to sit in and chat with each other? We have to create other places, and we have to use technology to be able to simulate that. And I already know how to navigate the administrative policies on social media, and I can guarantee that whatever might be set up would be lawful by the school and productive, and also serve to actually emulate, I think is a good word, the experience you could get, say, at the Harrisburg campus.
Yes, it sounds like you would use technology, use social media. That would be one of your many ideas for what you would do to get us started. Great. Allison, what about you? If you could choose one thing or idea to get started with in the role, what would you choose to do?
I have to definitely agree with Alex. That is one of the ideas. I was actually talking to someone, my coworker, to find like kind of solutions, and social media is definitely one that everyone uses, everyone goes, everyone takes their time to go in. Things like Instagram, Snapchat. I've noticed that a lot of people use Instagram stories, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, and to get everyone involved is pretty much just maybe create an Instagram for virtual students to go in, tell their stories, even like have fun, like even any little events that we have in there, they can send their pictures that what they participate with their families or anything, so all of us can get to know each other. And then whoever is in charge, and we would be in charge of the Instagram account, we can start posting and sharing people's stories and everything and making feel everyone like they know each other and be friends.
Great. Thank you, Allison. So another question, I know a lot of my questions for you have been very specific to HACC and virtual learning and the student body, but as far as you as an individual, if you had to pick a quote or a motto in life to describe your approach, what would that motto be and why? So Allison, if you could start us off, please.
Growing up, my father always taught me that never to have try in my vocabulary. because when you try, you're not giving your 100%. So for me, I would say my motto or my way of looking at life and everything is I don't have try in my vocabulary. I always do things, because that I know that I'm giving my 100%. And if I'm constantly saying I'm trying, I'm not really giving my 100%. So whenever I put myself to something, I always do it, and I do it with 100%.
Yeah, sounds like you're dedicated to completing projects and finishing what you promise. So excellent. And Alex, as for you, what would you pick as a quote or a motto for your approach in life?
For my approach in life, especially in the past about maybe like 5 years, but definitely in the last 3, when we stand together, anything can happen. And that's not mine. That is actually from the Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. The reason why I picked that is not necessarily to reveal political bias, although I'm sure it does. I'm also pursuing political science, so that's going to happen naturally. There's nothing I can do about it. I picked that because I have watched not just that movement, but so many other movements locally within my own school and nationwide that required the collaboration and the setting differences aside of people to make something happen and bring about some kind of change, whether it was the change that they had originally sought or not. And I think it can definitely apply to the virtual learning landscape. If we came together as a community of over 6,000 students, being partly online or completely online, and really thought about what our needs were and committed to manifesting that, there is a lot of potential there. Honest to goodness. I think that we have the ability to create just as much of a community that any of the physical campuses have. But it's going to take a little bit of participation from everybody. It's going to take a little bit of belief from everybody. I absolutely believe in it. I've watched it happen. I hope everybody else does.
Yes, excellent approach. Thank you for sharing. So one last question from me, and then we'll certainly take any questions from our attendees this evening. But is there anything else that you think the virtual learning student should know about you as they're looking to make a decision for who they would choose to be their leader? Alex, if you could start, please.
You, as a student, can absolutely expect a professional and a servant leader from me. I have been both. I am both, and I absolutely intend to continue to be both. Because I've already done a similar job to this before, I know how to navigate the technical parts of it, and you can guarantee that within the VLSAC, there's not going to be infrastructural snafus, or at least not as many as there might be if we were all stepping into something that was completely brand new and we were navigating it completely freshly. I'm a bit seasoned with this. There's also the aspect of servant leadership, which is something that is a life philosophy of mine. This isn't about me. This is about you guys, and this is about creating a better community for HACC and starting something completely new. The Harrisburg campus has been around for a long time. Lebanon's has been around since, I believe, the year 1990. We have something to create together, and I really hope to join that journey with you.
Great, thank you. And Allison?
Yes, definitely. I may not be seasoned. I am new, but I will work with everyone, and I will make sure that everyone feels like they're heard. I want to make sure that we all are experiencing this together, and we're working all together. And like Alex, whether you pick Alex or me, I'm sure we will find a solution for you and make sure that everyone feels welcomed and feels like they're heard. And it really would, I think it has great potential, and I think everyone is going to feel, everyone is going to be involved with everything, and it really will be a great run.
Excellent. So I think it's very obvious we have two very qualified individuals for this virtual learning student advisory council chair. So I will open up the SurveyMonkey, the online ballot here, and put that in the chat. But before I put it in the chat, I want to make sure out of our attendees who are on with us live tonight, what questions do you have for Allison or Alex, or both of them? It can be directed towards one of them or both of them. If you have any questions, I encourage you to type it in the chat box, and then I'll read it out loud so that they can address the question. But hopefully just from some of my questions, you were able to get to know both Allison and Alex a little bit more than just their bio. In the past, we've had elections for a number of years now. We shared their photo and their bio, and we felt we want you to get more of that personal touch, to actually hear from them, to be able to ask your questions during the election. So hopefully you like this new meet and greet that we implemented into the election process. And if you do like it, we'll continue to offer this from year to year. So it looks like we have a question from Gracie, and she's wondering, this is for both of the candidates, if you could create any event for virtual learning students, whether that's a physical event, an online event, or both, what would it be and what would its purpose be? So Allison, if you could answer Gracie's question to start with, and then Alex follow up, please.
Yeah. So as of now, I don't really have an event that I would create. Of course, I would come up with something. Like I said, I talked to Emily in the beginning, and I told her that I would put my whole team together to come up with a solution, because I believe that two minds is better than one, and coming up with other people, getting other people involved and getting a whole team involved, we can really come up with something good to have everyone involved and feel like everyone is welcome to HACC and everyone feels like they're in a school. Due to the fact that I'm also a nighttime student, it is very difficult for me to feel like I am part of the school and being involved in some of the on-site events too. So I felt like I would be determined to create something because I know what it would feel like not to be part of it.
Great, thank you. And Alex, what is an event that you would create for virtual students, and what would its purpose be?
So the key here is the platform that we are communicating on right now, and that's Zoom. That's the key. That is what's going to connect the virtual learning population with the entire college. That is what's going to open the door to events that are on other campuses, and also be the platform, generally speaking, for events of our own. One thing that we did at Lebanon was we had a fake news panel in which a lot of our faculty communicated their own ideas on what fake news was or was not, and how to analyze, media and think critically. And that was streamed online for anybody that wasn't able to attend. And that was an excellent idea. There are other campuses that have that potential too. So there, for one, is one way that we can get people who are not on certain campuses or may not even be on a physical campus at all to participate in these events. Other things that we can do, I think, would be especially important is to provide some of the educational seminars that our physical campuses provide. There's no reason that we can't have an MLA or APA workshop done through Zoom. And that's especially important for people to have access to, because that's vital information.
Great ideas, thank you. And I'll actually do a little plug for something that we do for the VLSAC, and that is in the fall and spring, we send out a virtual learning student satisfaction survey. So if you're a virtual learning student, we really encourage you to give feedback onto that survey, because that helps us know what you're looking for when we're looking to plan events and develop different initiatives. So thank you. It looks like we have one other question here from SLU, and this is for both candidates. They're wondering, how would you introduce a veteran to virtual learning who has never done an online course? And even if you just want to of course, address the veteran part of this question, but maybe even address this question generally speaking. If somebody's new to virtual learning who's never taken an online course, how would you make them feel a part of the VLSAC? How would you introduce them to virtual learning? So Alex, please, if you could start us off, and then Allison.
Sure. I'm going to start with presuming that SLU, you might be a veteran. If you are, thank you for your service. If not, if there's any veterans viewing, thank you for your service. You guys are important because HACC actually has the largest veteran population of students in the state, across all schools, private, public. That is a very important population to serve. For general students to just start their first online course, we have a great online orientation program that people can start, but that doesn't necessarily suffice for the community aspect that somebody might get in an on-campus setting. So there is a social aspect and a student programming aspect that we absolutely have to work on. One way that we can do that is encourage those students to participate in the discussion boards in their courses, or be a part of the social media outlets that the VLSAC chooses to utilize. For veterans specifically, this is something that I've been thinking about, how we are supposed to serve them in an online setting. So when I was at Lebanon, there is a specific veterans office or veteran service office that vets could go to for any services that they might need, whether that be counseling or job resources, etc. How are we supposed to provide that for maybe an exclusively online veteran? I think that's one thing that, as VLSAC chair, I would be most interested in answering. And there's a lot of directions that could go.
Great, thank you. And Allison, and then we'll wrap up our meet and greet for this evening.
Yes, I agree. There's a lot of ways that we can go with this. I have seen a lot of emails. I do get a lot of emails introducing events from either Monica or someone else for the on-site. We could possibly do things like that as well. We could have meetings like this in Zoom for introducing things that we could help out not only veterans but everyone else who hasn't taken an online course. We can provide more like Alex said, social media to introduce, to make them get a little bit feel of what we do and how we can help them, and have possibly a little section for veterans as well, showing them things that we could do, any questions that they have, and we can answer, or we can come up with solutions for them, and we can find ways to get everyone involved and make them feel like they are welcome in the virtual aspect, and be part of, still feel part of community and be part of HACC.
Great, thank you so much. And I just posted the link to the online ballot for the election in the chat. I encourage you to go and place your vote now. That election, that link will deactivate as of midnight on this Wednesday, which is June 13th. So make sure you vote now and vote early. Again, we have two very qualified candidates. Thank you so much to Allison and Alex for sharing and answering the various questions that we had. I do know in your bios, your email information is also included. So if you're a student that is either watching this back, or even if you're live with us and you think of some questions later, I'm sure that Alex and Allison will be open to answering any questions that you have if you email them directly. But thank you so much again. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and we promoted this as a 30-minute meet and greet, and it looks like we just made it. So thank you so much again. Best wishes, Alex and Allison, with the election. I hope that both of you stay involved with the virtual learning efforts in some capacity. Thank you so much again, and I hope everyone has a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Take care.